You look at that conversation, President Zelenskyy had called President Trump to thank him for the leadership that he provided. In fact, when Zelenskyy got elected, he said he modeled his campaign after President Trump's, and ultimately he got the relief money that he was asking for.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and rewriting history, the GQP goes way beyond that. Try total fabrication. Try outlandish fairy tales. Anything they can pawn off on their moron electorate, which gives them a wide berth indeed, and there is no tall tale those idiots won't buy lock, stock, and barrel. These morons have believed in how many magical dates now that Trump was supposed to be reinstated. The military was going to secretly come out of the shadows and reveal that Trump has truly been in power since the dawn of time, and he and his disciples will reign together in dictator's paradise forever. So it's no surprise that Steve Scalise figured he could rewrite history in the eyes of his captive subjects by conjuring up a fabrication that paints his orange overlord in a favorable light, saying that the situation with Ukraine's President Zelenskyy, where Mango Mussolini extorted Ukraine for political dirt by withholding supplies, was actually a one-sided love affair, that Zelenskyy was calling to thank Trump for providing such a noble measure of leadership that he could only hope to one day emulate.
Given where we are right now, what rethinking have you done on President Trump's withholding of military aid to Zelenskyy as he pressured him to investigate Joe Biden and Hunter Biden? And would you have done anything different in 2019 if you had known, the importance of Zelenskyy and Ukraine in this moment today?
Well, first of all, you look at that conversation, President Zelenskyy had called President Trump to thank him for the leadership that he provided.
The NSC proposed that President Trump call President Zelenskyy to congratulate him. On July 25th, 2019, the call occurred. I listened on the call in the Situation Room with White House colleagues. I was concerned by the call. What I heard was inappropriate. It's improper for the President of the United States to demand a foreign government investigate a U.S. citizen and a political opponent.
Zelenskyy got elected. He said he modeled his campaign after President Trump's, and ultimately he got the relief money that he was asking for.
This would undoubtedly result in Ukraine losing bipartisan support, undermining U.S. national security, and advancing Russia's strategic objectives in the region.
Hell, in Scalise's eyes, Zelenskyy was probably denying the aid, insisting that they were not worthy of his holy orange emperor's grace. That's the kind of morons Republican voters are. Facts are trivial things to be dismissed on any whim, and history is a narrative rewritten a million times to fit your personal agenda in the moment. These people never analyze the message. They simply look at the messenger. If the person they're listening to has an R preceding their name, they are on bended knee, ready to receive their programming. Please fill the voided cavity in my cranium with your holy righteous words, my master, so I can own the libtards. Good luck with that, numbskulls.
Trump stood with President Zelenskyy, and in fact, the two of them had a really good relationship. And when President Zelenskyy was asking for things like Javelin missiles that the Biden and Obama administration said no to, President Trump said yes and actually helped Ukraine get those tank-busting missiles that they needed and, frankly, they've been using.
But this is Republican politics in America these days. Everything is forgivable and forgotten because you simply say a word and say it often enough, and it becomes true. Remember, the big lie started months before the election ever happened. The election was going to be rigged, but only if Trump lost, of course. The fact that every investigation and every lawsuit was not only dismissed, but laughed out of every court and precinct in the country. But that does not deter even one of these mindless drones that follow this criminal enterprise masquerading as a political party. Leading a violent coup where people died and the Capitol was sacked by degenerate scum, and then going on TV and professing your love for them? They didn't impeach him because he was leaving office anyway. And then a year later, it was peaceful and proper political discourse. And not only was it okay, but all of those fascist scum should be handed out medals, and then Trump should be written into law as king for all eternity? There's no limit. There's no atrocity these jackaloons won't try to cover up, and they have no red line of moral decency. They will push anything they feel they can get away with. And with their voting base, the sky isn't even the limit. Dirty politicians is the word for this. The Trump-Publican Party is the very model of dirty, serving, corrupt, backstabbing politics. The worst of the worst. But because their entire party swears a unified oath of complicity, they work their propaganda narrative and sear it into the poorly educated base. That's why these people are the literal embodiment of alt-right pull-string toys. Pull the string and out comes the latest Newsmax talking point. And surprise, surprise, they've got nothing else in their entire vernacular. They are loyal, blind subjects to the very end. That, folks, is the problem. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.